Well, that was the wrong intro, but welcome to Marlowe House Presents Insights and Inspiration. I'm Andrew Marlowe.
I'm Monica Marlowe.
And
we have some guests tonight.
We do.
We have a lot of things to talk about this evening. Our regular co-host for Friday Night Hangouts, so we got some credit, is...
That's me.
It's you! Scott from
I'm in this weird little box. I don't know how to feel about this.
I don't think we could keep you in a box if we tried.
We have tried
a lot. So that's Scott from ScottsPOV, and we also have our friend from Cypher Unlimited, Dean. Say hi, Dean.
How we doing, guys? And as some of you, just know me as AD, Alpha Dean, that too, out there in the interwebs. And we're here to talk about some good stuff, right, Andrew?
Yes, we are. So the big thing tonight is the announcement that we made earlier today about IsolaCon, or IsolationCon. So IsolaCon is a charity event that we are working on putting together with the RPG Creators Relief Fund. And we're working with a lot of designers, podcasters, streamers. So ScottsPOV and Cypher Unlimited were two of our early sign-ons, and we were close friends with both channels. So we wanted to bring them on to kind of talk about how we got here and what it is that we're going to be doing. So if you guys have questions down there in chat, we are doing this live. Feel free to pop those in chat. We'll see them right on our screen, and we can kind of go from there. But I thought we would just kind of talk about how we all got started, and kind of before that, maybe we would talk about each of the channels that are going to be on tonight. So if you're tuning in here, this is Marlowe House Presents. We do streams on Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesday is Insights and Inspiration, and we do that as
it's a chat.
It's a talk show. Talk a lot about game design, running games, kind of game theory for RPGs. And then Scott is ScottsPOV. Why don't you tell them about your channel a little bit, Scott?
I do more gaming related art than anything. I branch out occasionally into a little bit of character design, game design, more character design than anything when I do. I air twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays. And I will occasionally take requests from the chat to see what we're going to draw, because I don't always come in with a plan.
Sometimes you Lego.
Sometimes I Lego.
Nice.
And then Dean.
Actually, the heartbeat I'm working on now came from chat.
Yes. And then Dean, why don't you tell us about the CU?
Yeah. Well, I'm a, part of the Cypher Unlimited CU as we go by, and we're all things Cypher. We are a community that's 3,000 strong and growing on Discord. We cover everything that Monty Cook Games puts out, as far as their, Invisible Sun, Numenera, The Strange, all the, setting books and things like that. We run a Discord server. We host games. We also have a YouTube channel that we do editorials, interviews, and things of that nature. We're getting more into the streaming game. As a matter of fact, tomorrow we're going to have the artist, was it Bruce Bernice, I believe it is, his name is pronounced, that has done like all the major artwork for like all the covers for the Numenera books. Anytime you see a landscape setting or anything like that, he's done that. We're going to be interviewing him tomorrow live on Twitch. And our content is normally released on Thursday or Friday on YouTube, but when we do our Twitch streams, they're normally done live on Wednesday nights. We're trying to grow our footprint there. We are also content creators. Me, myself, I have, a few things on Drive-Thru RPG, and we love to promote, people in the industry. It doesn't just have to be Cypher, but we are Cypher focused, Cypher system focused. So that's Cypher Unlimited.
Yep. And yeah, the fact that you guys have 3,000 people in your Discord is amazing to me. I can't even get my Discord to work.
I was gonna say I think we have 10.
That's largely because I can't make it work. I kind of gave up on it.
We're just gonna join you guys.
You should. I mean, and I tell you, you know what?
Well, we're joined in. We just don't have like a presence there that's like our channel presence.
Yeah.
You guys should come on through and start, doing it, because I'll be honest with you. The biggest thing I think with the Cypher Unlimited group, the reason why it works so well is because we did a lot of things to make a point of it being a holistic place to come to and a comfortable place to come to. We don't do edition wars. We don't talk about other things. We don't have, little side channels that have, D&D or Pathfinder. We just wanted to avoid all of that. And again, we don't, there'll be discussions in general that go back and forth, but overall, we don't have that, those didactically opposed opinions. And so the server works and it just grows. It grows organically because we had a guy who, just a real quick story. The guy came, he's been on our server for about a month. He's been talking back and forth. Then this whole thing happened. We did a video last week on, playing games online. He was able to shift his entire in real life group to online. And these were people who had all been playing together for years and never really thought about online. But now we earned, so we got like 4 or 5 new members just in the space of 20 minutes over a video, which is awesome. And that's how things kind of work for us.
Yeah. Well, and that was a really topical video too. So I mean, that's a lot of people are trying to figure out how they're going to transition to online, ourselves included to some degree. I mean, we already do some streaming, obviously, and Scott's doing his from remote, but we've got a Sunday group that has habitually met at a table for
20
30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, off and on, some of those people I've been gaming with since I was 10. So,
and Scott's been gaming with us before we were a couple, and we will be married 20 years in a couple months. So,
yeah. So
congratulations.
Thank
awesome.
you.
So it is one of those things where it is hard to get us old dogs to change our tricks. So it was definitely a topical video because we're not the only ones out there. And part of, the whole COVID disaster. I mean, this has been it's a global pandemic. It is nothing short of just ruinous across so many possible industries. And RPG creators are already sort of an endangered breed. I mean, a lot of them live project to project in a way that is untenable under the best circumstances.
So while we don't have Hal on with us tonight, we did actually interview Hal Greenberg about a year ago. And that is in our archives on YouTube, but our plan is to have him on again soon. And we met him at Gen Con 4 years ago, I think, maybe 5. Actually, I
think it's 5.
It was 5. And at that time, the RCRF was something that he was talking about,
and it was brand new.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like in its earliest
stages. They were still like even getting their 5.0 whatever status and everything like that, because they even back then, when the industry was presumably much stronger than it is now, even they recognized that freelancers, whether they're artists or game designers, freelancers, cartographers, editors, they cover everybody who is part of creating an RPG presence in the industry. They're covered under this fund. And the really great thing is that they will help anybody who has a need. Oftentimes they don't have insurance. They don't have a lot of savings. They certainly don't have a 401k. And so Hal and the people who were running the charity wanted to make sure that, any game designer who had, a car accident wasn't financially ruined, because
by a piece of misfortune.
But they ended up in the hospital because they broke their arm, and now suddenly they have $5,000 worth of doctor's bills, and they don't have the money to cover that. So their goal was to make sure that all of the game industry people had basically that they had a little bit of an umbrella, someone who could catch them when things got bad. And now suddenly things have gotten bad for everybody.
Across every industry.
Across the board.
So with that in mind, and the fact that things are already, like I said, already kind of tenuous for a lot of people, Dean, myself, Al, and Anthony were all talking. We've been talking since the last time I was on your show, and I think you guys were, on my show. We did the Star Wars thing, and we keep talking about how we need to do this again. We need to get together, and we need to do, and we keep talking about it, and it's never really happened. And so it got mentioned again just the other day, and I was like, oh, we should do this as a charity event. And at about the same time, Scott's going, oh, we need to do a charity event. And so everything sort of just hit the ground at the right time, right place. And my first response was, yes, we need to do this. And so I ran out there and I started talking to people as if I brought him to the chat by talking about him. Hey, Anthony.
Hi, Spags.
So, we had this initial conversation, and we were like, we should do this thing, and we should. And I was like, with the Scott and the other conversations going on, it was like, hey, let's do a charity event. At which point, we just had to figure out what charity to do,
which wasn't hard.
But since we are friends with Hal, and actually, I think we know almost everybody on the board over there.
I'm pretty sure we do. We don't know Ed Greenwood personally, but I'm
Ed
pretty
Greenwood's
sure.
not on the board.
I thought it's
was. It's Steve Long, Rachel Ventura.
He might be one of the consultants. Yeah. I want to say he's part of the extended group, but yeah.
Maybe. I know he's part of the writing.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Advisory board.
He's
on the advisory board.
Right.
I've got it pulled up in front of me.
Okay. You and your fancy,
I should have been smart
computers.
And pulled it up in front of me too. I mean, it's been up in front of me on my other computer for like 3 days, because I keep having it handy to access to things. Because I've been trying to reach out to a bunch of people that I don't know and see who's willing to participate. And some people I know are in, so we've managed to definitely secure the involvement of No Direction to some degree, although the exact nature of that hasn't been worked out. The Four Horsemen, which was really so hard because 2 of them are already sitting in this room.
Well, and Steve was very excited. We'll talk about what he was excited about here shortly.
Right. So we have the Four Horsemen, No Direction, ScottsPOV, Cypher Unlimited, Marlowe House, and we're kind of spearheading everything at the moment, just because
you lost your mind.
It started with my crazy idea, and I've just kind of run with it.
Yeah. For like 4 days, Andrew hasn't slept. This is the last day of his vacation, and he spent the last 4 days like going to bed after me and getting up before me. I'm almost certain he doesn't actually go to sleep at this point.
So
sleep is overrated.
Apparently.
Who needs sleep? You ain't never gonna get it.
Nope. If you break out into song, though, it's going to be a short show.
Yeah, everybody will tune out.
Oh, yes. And we do have a lot of other groups that are joining us very quickly. I certainly don't want anyone to feel slighted if we haven't mentioned them. There are so many people involved at this point. It's kind of hard.
and until we kind of like nail down exactly
Yeah.
how people are going to be involved, I don't want to throw too much out there. Now I know that Michael is like, he's like, I'm in, and I have no doubts that Michael will be there because he has been one of our staunch supporters on this channel for a very long time. And so for him to stand there and be like, production platform 3 is in, I have no doubts about that. I don't.
Andrew, why don't you give people kind of an idea of exactly what is going to be going on, what type of events and everything?
Right.
You know, I mean,
So
we're talking.
Right. So the primary events are going to be streaming events. It does look like we may start adding other events, but the primary things that we wanted to do were to showcase what we all do, which is we're streamers, we're YouTubers.
We create games.
We're creators,
among other things.
and a lot of what we do is creative content. And so I've been trying to organize how we're going to get all of our time slots filled, and we're working on getting everybody's game events organized so that you can tune in and watch some things that are going on live, like we did for the Star Wars Day, where we ran what was it, 3 or 4 games over the course of one day. We decided to spread this out a little bit and do a 48-hour block, and we'll see how many of those slots we can get filled. But as I've started talking to people, I've had a bunch of people saying, hey, can I run games online and be a part of this? So we are working out ways to get other games involved and get GMs who want to run events tied to this, because there's clearly a desire to do so. Games that are streamed will be good, and I'm definitely going to be looking at adding more streamed games because we don't have all the hours that I'd like to see filled necessarily accounted for. But we're gonna try to keep everything. What?
I'm getting a weird air sound.
I am too, but I was gonna let it go.
Okay, sorry guys. We don't know what that is, but there's a bunch of us on here, so
right.
Pretend that it's the spirit of gaming.
But we have Regardless is going to put together sort of a logo package so that everybody's stuff looks the same. So they are one of our company sponsors. They are doing that voluntarily, and that'll help all of the channels have sort of a unified look for the event. And basically what we're kind of shooting for at this point is sort of like the very old, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you know what the telethons are. What we're looking for is sort of a telethon approach to this, where there are no paywalls. You can tune into any of the channels, watch what you want. We may have some company prize support. We may have discounts that we're able to post up for people. These are things we're working on, but I can't promise yet. But I have reasonable hope that we'll actually see some of that. And then we're going to get, it looks like, some crazier events.
Yes.
So I've run my mouth for a while. Why don't you tell us about what Steve Helt is doing with the Four Horsemen?
Okay, so for those of you who have ever been to PaizoCon and presumably other conventions that I have not personally been to, at PaizoCon they run what they call a grind. It's a continuous game of just killing PCs and bad guys. There is a storyline, but chances are your character's not going to live long enough to experience all of it. They run it in blocks, and as people die, they trade characters out. If that's not exactly how it works, but that's how we're going to run it. We have had a little bit of experience of doing fundraising in the past. James Walls, which I'm not sure 100% where he's going to fall in this, but I know he's very supportive of it. But at one point, he had his own charity group called Lawful Good Gaming, and we ran a lot of fundraisers that way. So I'm going to draw from some of my experiences with that organization to bring through to what we're doing here. One of the most important things to us is that the money that we gather goes all 100% to RCRF. And the easiest way to do that is for anybody who's making donations to make their donation directly to them. And then showing us in the form of a paid ticket, which will be some kind of, visual evidence, an email of like a receipt or something like that. And some of these details we're going to work out later, so that we can add you into games where we would otherwise have issues, because of the whole point is to raise money. Of course, we want you to have fun too. And one of the things that Steve Helt wants to do is he wants to kill your characters, because that's what Steve Helt does. If you're not aware of what we do at Four Horsemen, Four Horsemen Games was founded on the idea that being bad is not always a bad thing. Sometimes we fight evil, sometimes we are the bad guys, but most importantly, he likes to create challenges in his games. And one of the things he wants to do is to run a grind. So we're working on the details of that right now. It looks like what we'll be doing is selling tickets. We will be trying to get some kind of infrastructure together so that we know who the next player is. It's also a lot like the Killer Breakfast, if you've ever been to Gen Con, where people just come out on stage and Tracy Hickman kills them. Well, they're characters. So it's going to be a lot like that. That's our goal. Steve has graciously agreed to not sleep for the whole weekend. He said, I want to run. I will run a lot of hours on Saturday, and now he looks like he's going to run quite a few hours on Sunday. I think, though, that some of that's going to be a celebrity event. We have a lot of things that are irons in the fire right now, but definitely the grind is something we're very excited about, because it will give everybody an opportunity to participate in a game that they might not otherwise have any chance of playing together. And when we get to that point, we will have some details. And when people start buying tickets for that event, we'd like to do that as much in advance as possible so that we can get the details together. But we are also trying to make sure that we will have the opportunity that if you tune in that day and you want to play a character that's going to die heroically, we will give you that opportunity. So that's
Right.
kind of where we are with that. We don't have a lot more details than that.
The Meat Grinder event is going to be like all the other public events. It's going to be public.
Yep.
You will be able to see what's going on. It will be live streamed, and basically, again, it's like that Killer Breakfast thing where if you've been to Gen Con, you can get into one of two lines. You can get in the line that's just going to watch and watch the train wreck happen, and the other one is that you get to be a casualty on said train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what we're going for here. But that is just one of the events that we have planned. I believe, Dean, don't you have isn't there a panel being formed on Sunday for GMing advice?
Yeah, so I was talking to Eric Frankhouse and actually Steve Helt about that, and apparently they want to do a panel where we talk about, I don't know who else we're going to get on there. I have to talk to my partners, Anthony and Al, see if they want to get in, because we always have a great time talking with Eric anyway. But yeah, basically a panel to talk about, GMing both online, offline, and just, stepping into that arena. Cypher Unlimited is also, I'm like I said, I'm a bit of a machine too. I love to run games. I'll run games all day long if I can. So I know we were planning on running a few live games. We didn't know if there was going to be a specific theme for the weekend or what have you, but the way things are unfolding, it looks like there's going to be just like
It's going to
all
be a
hands
free
on
for all.
deck and pull
Free for
whatever
all.
out. Yeah, everybody pull them out and show it, so that's what it looks like it's going to happen. So,
Yeah,
I've got a ton of stuff that I can run. So,
excellent.
and I know Anthony has some great things, and we want to show the power of Cypher system out there, because don't get me wrong, love D&D, love Pathfinder, PF2, and all the other things that get a lot of conversation. But I think, everybody should learn the beauty and elegance of Cypher system, it should be the wave of tomorrow as far as I'm concerned, but that's just me.
Well, on this channel, we definitely have a love of Cypher, but we also get into other things too. It's just, I think that for things like this, Cypher is going to be really easy to do. So I think we may have a lot of Cypher being run. but I know
Real quick.
that Steve's. Oh, sorry.
Real quick, I'm sorry. Just Anthony said it looks like we can get Darcy Ross or Grant Ellis for that panel as well for the GM and advice panel. So there's a
Yep.
couple of names out there that
Mhm.
people in the industry. Grant Ellis is awesome. That's my RPG son. I love that guy. He's awesome. He gave me my other title. He calls me the Aslan of gaming because he tells people he was there when the rules were written. Don't speak to him of RPGs. So,
Right.
and he's not lying. So,
Yeah. They would be on my list of people I'd like to see on that panel too. We haven't gotten in touch with them yet, to my knowledge. So
Well,
that's on the.
To be fair, CU has kind of taken that
some of that.
set of horses and have run with it. That's one of the reasons why this conversation is kind of difficult, because we have invited people to be a part of it, and it's been very vague at this point as to what that part will be.
I have invited a lot of people who have said, yes, count me in. I can be available this day, but we haven't been able to nail down exactly what it is that they're going to be doing. So I don't, until those things are nailed down, I don't really want to commit anybody else to things, but I am very excited by some of the people we've gotten.
I will just say that we have some people who have an extraordinary name recognition who have agreed to be a part of it. We just don't know how. And some of them have won awards, and it's not, they are people that we even knew before. We're very excited that as we have reached, mostly Andrew he's been like, I'm going to go ask this person. And I'm like, you're going to ask that person? He's like, yeah, what's the worst they could say? No. And I'm like, oh my God, you're finally coming out of your shell. Yay. Yeah. I feel like I finally have had some kind of influence over him in a good way.
I think you just said a mouthful, but I think in these times, everybody is just, everybody's just going to open up, and you're going to see, the best of what we have to offer. A lot of us have been doing this for more than 30-40 years, and we were the ones who got the monikers. We were the cellar dwellers, and we were the outcasts, and to be living in this time, as I like to call it, the diamond age, or the gold plus platinum age of gaming, is just unprecedented. So.
Well, it looks like I don't have.
So Scott, I don't want to put you on the spot, but have you given any thought to what it is that you're going to do?
Honestly, I was a little torn between running something or just doing a Zen corner kind of thing where we do some painting.
Oh, you and LJ, we could even have like mini painting, and I wonder if LJ would be.
We'll again.
We'll
make
see.
notes.
I'm sorry.
Don't.
I'm sorry.
We're not brainstorming.
I'm sorry. I'm so excited.
I'd be into the painting thing. I've been, trying my hand at it.
So we do have one question in chat, and Wuthering Cephalopod wants to know if anybody has touched base with Matt McElroy to see if any publishers on Drive-Thru might be interested. I am not really at liberty to discuss anybody who is signed on or hasn't signed on, but I will say that the list keeps growing, and every time somebody mentions somebody that I haven't thought of, I scribble it down. So if I hadn't asked him already, I will be asking him soon.
The other thing that's worth noting is the way that we're actually going to do most of our ticketing events, and the way that we're going to encourage people to donate to RCRF, which you can do very soon. You can do it right now if you go over to Drive-Thru. They have a donation page over there already. You can just purchase a donation through Drive-Thru. And so I will say this, Drive-Thru is aware that we have this in the works, because I wanted to make sure that they weren't caught by surprise that on Easter weekend that there's going to be a crap ton of money, hopefully rolling in through RCRF.
It may or may not be going through that venue. I don't know how they're going to set that up, because that is going to be RCRF's to set up. They may set up their own window for us.
Yeah, it's hard. It's
that is still up in the air. I've been talking to Hal, but Hal has to talk to the rest of the board, and then he has to get back with me, and then we have to figure out how we're going to do what we're going to do. So a lot of that stuff is up in the air, but there is a pay what you want donation page already on drive-through for the RCRF, and if you wanted to donate now, you could donate now.
What's up, Scott?
I was just going to say, also, if you're one of the fortunate folks who are still very gainfully employed, check with your employer to see if they're using Benevity.
Yes,
I know that some employers will do matches for donation, which is part of why I originally started talking to Andrew about hosting the event. And then I know that there are some companies where, as part of that donation match, if you are just viewing and participating in the chat, every hour of your time could be monetized as a donation,
right?
Through
Depending
the Benevity website,
right? Depending on what company you're working for, if you check with your HR folks, there are various ways that some of the companies do donation matching. Scott happens to work for one that actually does donate based on time. I'm going to look up and see whether my company donates through Benevity, because we do a ton of stuff through a ton of different people for charity. And so it would be worth me looking into it as well. But that's a job for tomorrow when I go back to my essential employment.
That's for tomorrow me.
That's for tomorrow me, who has to go and deal with all the sick people that are coming in for
now. But that also brings up a really important point. We don't want anyone to prioritize the game industry above their immediate basic and essential needs.
Right.
Which is the primary reason why we are running this without any kind of paywall. That everything that we plan to run should be free to everybody who has the internet and is able to log in and watch it. This is as much for all of the community, the gaming community, to have some time to spend together with one another, because it doesn't look like we're going to have PaizoCon, or quite likely we're not going to probably have Origins, because I can tell you as an employee of the state of Ohio, we are currently in an extended shelter at home, stay at home, and it was extended today to May 1st. And I have every reason to believe that it probably will continue through the Origins period, simply because right now we are doing a really good job of flattening our curve, if you know what that means. We're keeping everybody safer by keeping them at home, and the spread of COVID-19 in Ohio is relatively low compared to some other areas. And I don't foresee that that's going to change through the summer. I don't know that they won't lift and won't release some of the restrictions, but I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I wouldn't plan on being in Ohio over the summer for vacation. And we'd like to make that as soft of a blow as possible. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the governor, so obviously things can change, but that's just my gut feeling right now, based on some of the stuff that I've been seeing. And so we wanted to make sure
we watch the state updates every day, and they're slowly extending it out, but you get the feeling as you watch it for a couple of days that they know when they're only extending it a little bit. I think they're trying to avoid some panic, and they're trying to minimize the impact.
And to be fair, we don't want anyone to panic, and we don't want anyone to choose, like I said, charity dollars over, literally buying your toilet paper or getting your food or getting your medicine. This is to take care of everybody. Also, if you are a primary game designer or artist, or any other kind of professional in the industry, and you are currently without work, you are also eligible to go to RCRF and ask them for assistance. So it's kind of it's kind of a double-edged thing that we're doing here. We want to help people who need help, and we also want to help people who feel alone and isolated to have that opportunity to get to talk to their friends, even if you don't get to see them and hug them. It's still a lot more fun to see each other face to face in this troubling time. I mean, it's nice to know you guys are out there. I mean, I used to see Scott twice a week, and I'm just glad to see that a proof of life picture. And I haven't seen Dean since last August, but or actually I saw you online the other couple months ago, but
not face to face.
But not face to face. But I'm glad to know that you guys are healthy, and that's what we want to help here, is to see that life is going on, and that there is the opportunity for us to have the light at the end of the tunnel, and so that's why we're doing this.
And and I gotta support it just 100%. 199%, however you want to put it, because you guys, and when I say you guys, I mean everyone out there in the interwebs, all my fellow gamers. Um, I'm a passionate person, but I miss you guys. I look forward to my conventions. I look forward to those times that we all come together. And this is trying. This is a trying time. Not to, not looking for anything or anything like that. I buried my uncle today. And it was crazy because we're sitting in a church. It's a massive church, but everybody is sitting apart. Every cognizant family. My wife and I are in one spot. My sister and her husband in another spot. And it was it was surrealistic. You, you know, and then they have the church. Have the pastor at the church say that what, this is the last funeral that they're going to have for the foreseeable future.
Wow.
They don't even know. So to do this and to be sitting here tonight talking to all of you about, IsolaCon is a privilege, and it's something that I would love to see become very successful. And not only that, but maybe something we continue to do, something that we can look forward to, even when world, comes back to some normalcy. Because I think this is pretty awesome. I got an online gaming and a few years ago where I kind of hit it hard, and it's been a really good thing. So come on out and support. Come on out, and just game. And that's the best support. If you can just be there, spend a couple hours or an hour, 30 minutes, whatever. So.
Well, and first of all, I am sorry. I knew that was the case, Dean, but I am sorry for your loss. This is a really hard time, and especially when you can't truly be with the people that you love and comfort one another, it is hard. So I am very sorry for your loss, and I hope that
thank you.
I hope that we will have fewer losses than most, and that we will get a chance to get together. Andrew and I have talked about that this is potentially not a one-shot deal. Right now, our CRF is distributing the money that they have. So Andrew's decision, or they will be soon. Andrew's decision to do this was actually kind of kismet. When he reached out to Hal, they were trying to figure out what they were going to do, and so this is us kind of refilling their coffers, and it might be something that we try to do again before this is all said and done, because we want to make sure that when the gaming industry can go back online, there are people there to go back online with it.
Yeah. And it's one of those things too, where if you can't support it today, and you can go and you can hang out online virtually with your friends and enjoy it today, but you can't support it monetarily, that's great. And then in 6 months, if something has changed for you and we do it again, then you would have the opportunity to donate accordingly, or if you have time, that if you have the money this time but not next time. So we're not asking for anything that anybody can't afford. We would just like to have the most people out there to participate and spread the word.
If you haven't liked
other thing. Oh, I'm sorry, Monica.
No,
Go ahead.
well, really quick, if you haven't already liked our Facebook page, please check it out. It is IsolaCon, ISOLACON. We tried to invite all of our friends, and Facebook was like, "You've invited too many people. Try again tomorrow." So, and if you do join, will you share it too? Because you probably have a lot of gamer friends who aren't friends with us specifically. And the sooner we can get the word out, the better, because it is happening the 18th and 19th. We're rolling it out on the 17th, which is a Friday, which is Easter weekend, which is 3 weekends away.
Right.
So we have less than 3 weeks to get this together.
The very first slot will be our regularly scheduled Friday show. So it'll start at.
We're going to probably start at 8 though.
Well, it'll kick off at 9, but we may do a pre-show at 8. That week, just to kind of get all of our nonsense out of the way right away.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of nonsense on our show.
What were you gonna say, Dean? I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. I was just gonna say, and I think something else that we need to throw out there is that, everybody who's signing on and looking up everything, and if you want to participate, if you have a game you want to run or something like that, it may not work for the logistics now, but when we come back to do it again, that's something you can look forward to. Because as much as we want dollars and cents, guess what? We still can't make this thing happen if we don't have the games to run, if we don't have the panels to view, So if anybody out there, if there's any, celebrities out there, people in the industry, content creators, fledgling content creators, whatever you are about, if you're into this hobby, this would be probably a great place, to contact some of us, like, he was talking about the Facebook pages and stuff like that. Cypher Unlimited has a presence on Facebook and Discord, on Twitter. You can look us up, if you can't find the IsolaCon, but whatever it is, we're out there, and we'd be more than willing to help, direct, support whatever we can do as best we can. So
right.
Just wanted to say that. I don't think, Andrew and Monica mind me, telling everybody those things.
No.
You have a good big heart. Anything that you bring out of that is always welcome here.
I appreciate that. I try.
You do a good job, man. So, Scott, you got anything? Or are you just drawing? You're making harpies. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm doing harpy for the. And as we were talking about it, I told Andrew earlier that since the harpy was kind of a suggestion from my chat, where we're like, oh, we're gonna do like that off the beaten track rare items merchant. If we're gonna get this page together where we can link to everyone's personal stores, we can make that the trading hall, as it were, the dealer's hall.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. I mean, there are so many things that we could do that we can't even think of. So that's, I think, one of the
and we've
biggest strengths.
We've gotten some fun donations already. So and by fun donations, I mean things that like, until I have official art from our graphic designers, we launched this page with a D12 that Scott took a photo of. And because it's the loneliest die. It's the die that's always in isolation. So I had it as both our banner and our profile picture. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really want to just...
I almost put it in one of the plastic spheres that I use for my dice, too.
It was probably better this way because it's much more visible.
Yeah.
But that would have been hilarious. So I posted that, and I had recently seen from one of our artist friends, Stan, with an exclamation point, who used to do like Bolt and Quiver in Dragon magazine. He did a comic for quarantine and isolation.
The 6 foot social distancing.
Yeah, it was a social distancing comic, and I said, "Can I use that for a banner?" He's like, "Really? Yeah, done. Here." So posted that right up right away. And that gave us something fun to have on the page, at least for the moment, until we can get some more official looking art. But it's a good way to get started.
A couple of other artists have been like, hey, if you want to use this piece of art too, you can do that.
So now I've got something that we will be putting into one of our ads, because we'll want to do some ad work for this. That was from Jacob Blackman. Jacob Blackman gave us a really cool, fun piece of art that is timely.
He gave us the.
I wasn't going to give it away, but that's all right.
He gave us the toilet paper monster.
The toilet paper golem.
Yeah, the golem that he created. So. Sorry, I didn't.
It wants to wipe us out.
Yeah. So
that pun is not mine.
I know that was his. So that's kind of where we're at. That's the state of the charity convention, which we really want to make clear that this is a convention to raise money for charity. And so we want to stay within the keeping of that spirit, and goodwill.
And I actually want to make another point, because somebody raised this question elsewhere, and I want to make this point abundantly clear. It is not the convention's place to take your money. We are not actually probably going to touch your money at all. There may be a couple of times that we make some.
We may have to
we may have to make some things around it because of the way things like Twitch work. But our primary goal is for you to make your donations not to us, but directly to the charity, so that you know who's handling the charity money, that you don't have to worry about whether we're legit. You are going to be giving your money to them directly.
Right. We're just doing this for fun. We're just hoping that you'll give them money because we're fun to watch, which we are, I promise.
And this is just an excuse for us to game all day long.
It really is. I mean, like...
That's literally what it is. It's an excuse to game and act up and,
So
walking around for 2 days, 3 or 4 days. I'm just going to sit in my computer, my chair, sit in my nice comfy chair, and my nice man cave, and I'm going to stream live and do stuff.
So I sat in the same chair I'm sitting in right now for 90% of the May the 4th be with you, because I played in 3 of the 4 games that got run that day. It was over 12 hours, and this chair is not comfortable. So if I'm going to sit in this chair for 2 days, almost 3 days, probably roughly nonstop, could you please give some money? But
only what you can afford.
But only what you can afford. So I think that kind of takes us where we're at right now. Hopefully we'll have some more updates for you soon as we do.
They will be on that Facebook page. I'm going to be trying to get some other things together and figure out how we're going to get everybody clued into what's going on in the most convenient and easily addressed way. If you are interested in running an event for us, you can drop me an email. My email address is amarlow, M-A-R, it's A. Let me go back to the beginning.
Here, let me go ahead and put this in.
Actually, you put it in chat. That'll be better.
That's exactly where I'm going to put it.
amarlowe1520@gmail.com. Use the subject heading IsolaCon event, and that will let me know what I'm looking at. It'll make it easier for it to show up. So, IsolaCon event. And if you have something that you would like to do to contribute, drop that email to me, and I will figure out where to direct our focus, who to delegate those things to.
Because as we go, things are going to get crazier and crazier. And just remember, we've never really done this before. This is the first annual, well, maybe not annual, but this is the first time we've done this. We're actually
calling it IsolaCon April 2020.
Yeah, and that will be how
there's already been a lot of interest in doing it later again. from some of the people who have signed on. They're like, can we do it again in a couple months after that? I'm like, whoa, let's get to the first one first.
Right.
But I like your enthusiasm. We'll call it IsolaCon April 2020, just in case.
Right. So,
but we'll have to see if I survive.
Real quick, I'm sorry, I don't mean. There's also another online con this weekend from Boston Con from our good friend Matt Yannick over at Cypher, All Things Cypher, I believe it is. They're doing one online too. I'll throw up some links. Let me see if I can find a link for it.
I heard it was CritterCon, but I didn't know about it when we first picked our date.
No, that CritterCon is the same weekend we are.
Yeah.
You're talking about a different one this weekend.
This one is coming the 3rd, 4th. This is like the 3rd and 4th.
Oh, okay.
Of April.
Okay, I see.
You can jump in. There's games and stuff
right away.
Let me see if I can find it real quick from Matt Yannick. But yeah, just when you were talking about doing it again, it was like, wait a minute, there's already stuff going on.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to throw that out there, and I'm gonna throw that in the chat. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna reach out to Matt.
Actually, I'm reading Terry and Michael in our chat window. Terry and Michael are our what are their names from Muppets?
They're our Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah, there are Statler and Waldorf on the All Things Marlowe House, ScottsPOV.
They have dubbed themselves Salon Bedlam in honor of the name I used to compete in Iron GM.
Yes, and so they're Salon Bedlam, and they are our platinum. They're our platinum viewers because they're always here with us. And since we're waiting for the link, I just want to say thank you guys. You have been our steadfast audience, sometimes our only audience, but we've had a really good time, and it wouldn't be half as fun without you guys. So it's good to see you. Yes, you guys can be Waldorf and Statler. Just figure that out between yourself.
They did. Terry claimed Waldorf right off, and Michael was like, I'm okay with Statler.
If we have to have an online, arm wrestling between Louisiana and Florida, we'll figure it out. And we have the power. So,
and you know what, guy? Even if he doesn't hit me back right away, I'll throw it up on the Marlowe House page on Facebook. I'll throw it up on Cypher Unlimited on Facebook. If you're not members there, you can always hop over to our Discord. It'll be, I'll have it. Reach out to me, alphadean@gmail.com, whatever.
Excellent.
All right. Well, we'll make sure that we get that shared up then too.
So, thank you all for tuning in. We've had a very full chat all night. Thank you guys for participating.
Really quick, does anybody have any questions? We have a pretty good.
I was actually about to.
Oh, okay. So... Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I thought you were going to say goodbye.
No, I was going to say that they were all there. No, go ahead.
All right. So, if there are any questions, now's your opportunity to ask them. I haven't seen many in chat, but if you have a burning question, let me know.
I've tried to answer the few that I've seen.
Yeah.
I don't think there were any. I'm going to go back through chat real quick.
I don't remember seeing.
So cover me. I'm going in.
Oh no. We don't have the music.
What do you mean we don't have music?
We don't have the cover me. I'm going in music cued.
Oh,
yeah, I know, right? Well, I don't see. Okay. Michael says he thinks this was answered already, but some people. You are a wealth of information, Dean. All right, come on, type faster, Michael. I mean, this lag is killing us.
Yeah, the lag is.
Well, we are.
I've never paid attention to it.
Oh, Terry, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Scott,
African or European?
I was going to say, Scott, that's your question.
I
open
caught
to all
on to what
systems. Michael, it's open to all systems. I'm just a Cypher head, so I'm going to talk Cypher. I mean, like I said, I've got a bunch of other stuff over here in the back. I've run 5e, Pathfinder 2, Powered by the Apocalypse, Fate.
I
Basically, just name a game that is more trying to figure out what I haven't run as opposed to what I
I
have. So,
I
but we're doing everything, I think.
I can say right now, without a doubt, that there's going to at least be some PF2 because that is what Steve Helt will be running.
Yes, Steve Helt mentioned that he would either be running in PF1 or PF2, depending, but he would prefer to run in PF2 simply because it's the newer thing and it will give a lot more people the opportunity to play it who maybe have not had the chance. There will be pre-gen characters with that. And there will be some background, so you'll actually get a little bit of homework and a little bit of detail on what the adventure is going to be like when you get dropped into that. So we're not 100% certain beyond that. He's writing it. Steve, actually, we started talking to him about that on Friday, and I think he's got the adventure like 75% done.
Yeah, he told us last night.
He's very excited. Very excited.
I talked to him at some point, I guess it was yesterday, the day before, and I'm like, what you doing? He's like, outlining. I'm like, what are you outlining? Because it could be all sorts of things. And he's like, well, there's this event coming up in April that I don't know, you might have heard of it. I was like, oh, right. So
in the spirit of isolation and quarantine, I'm going to be running Rifts.
I feel like maybe we should just start making traveler characters. I mean, we won't have to play the game. We'll just make PCs.
Hey, you know what?
I don't have an edition of that anymore.
That could be fun.
We think about it. If we did like maybe a 2-hour panel and just had people come on and we taught them how to make characters from different systems. Pathfinder 2, Cypher system, Traveler. I mean, that was because I know I found like great joy growing up making characters. I don't know. I still do. I'm like weird.
No, you're not. Because Andrew does the same thing.
All right. So when I learn a new system, the first thing I do is I look at the character sheet. And I will then read through the book. But the first thing I do is I look at the character sheet. And then as I go through the book, I'll start getting ideas for characters. And I want to learn the system. I make characters. So I make characters for things. I'll print off a bunch of sheets
of characters.
And Monica will be like, why are you making characters? I'm like, because I'm trying to figure this out. Because that's how I make.
Okay.
That's how I make.
Ready! Oh, I'm sorry, guys. The co-star, the real star of the show has shown up and left. That was fast.
He did not like that.
No.
He was like,
he's like, I'm not here for charity.
This is not my show.
You probably can't see this, but these are nothing but character sheets in a binder, and it's like a bunch of them. This is probably about 60 pages, and these are all characters just for Pathfinder 2, which I don't play my.
Well,
or should I say I don't run. I will play.
Well, that's what's funny.
I love the characters.
Andrew makes all of these PCs, and he runs every game we play. So he's got all of these characters that have never been played.
Well, that's the beauty of making characters, though. They always can make reappearances as NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and a lot of times they end up becoming pre-gens.
So that's very true.
Yep. So.
Yep, pre-gens, and that's what I'm saying. You're always prepared, because I have another folder over there that's my pre-gen folder for all my demos that I run. I was actually running demos every week at a game store. They had actually, one of the game stores locally was giving me like $50 in store credit a week for coming in, and I would run Cypher system demos every week, so
Dang.
I'm going through withdrawing the main lines of Cypher. So,
Well, so it's 10 after 10, and we usually try to keep this to an hour. It doesn't look like anybody has any questions, but certainly you know how to get in touch with us if you have them, if you have something you want to offer, if you have a game you want to play. Certainly if you are looking to play, go in and follow our page on Facebook, because that's where most of the details will be. Please share it with your friends. That is probably the most critical takeaway from this evening, is if we don't have players to play in our games
or to watch what we're doing
and to make donations, there will be no money to give through this particular charity. And at this point, I can assure you that a great many of the game designers, artists, cartographers, editors, layout designer, everybody, they're all being negatively impacted because there are no physical books going out. There is no physical publishing going on. Right now, PDFs are the things that are keeping them afloat. If you have even a little bit more extra money that way, you can certainly send it to them through purchasing their PDFs through whatever manner in which they sell them. But we really hope that you will join us for the convention on April starting 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern. As Andrew said, we'll probably start a little bit earlier at 8 o'clock so that we can just get the silliness out. And then we're going to kick it off with the regular Friday night, Marlowe Friday night hangouts. We don't know which game we're going to be playing. We still have to discuss that specifically. And then we're going to run through Sunday, and we will also end on Marlowe House of some kind, because Sundays usually are traditional game night as well. So we already have those times carved out for us to bookend the event. But the more people we have, the more likely we are going to raise money. And that is the whole goal here, is to raise money, raise awareness, have some fun, and maybe kind of forget a little bit about what's going on in the real world, because isn't that why we game?
Yeah, as Michael says, the world is getting dark. This is our shot at bringing some light into the gloom. And I think that's a great place to stop.
Mm-hmm. So thank you, Dean and Scott. It's been a pleasure. We will certainly be talking to you again.
So Dean, just as a reminder, Cypher Unlimited is on tomorrow night on what's the channel?
Our Twitch channel is Cypher Unlimited. And we'll be on tomorrow night talking to Bruce Bernice, who is, like I said, the premier artist for Monty Cook Games. He's done all those great landscapes and probably all the covers for the Numenera books. Amazing work. It's going to be a great talk. We're going to talk to him all about art and working with MCG and everything. So come on out and join us, people. We're going to try to up our content output as well. Been inspired by you guys. That's what's happening tomorrow. Cypher Unlimited on Twitch.
All right, Cypher.
And then, of course, it'll be streamed. It'll also be streamed tomorrow, or should I say, it'll also be put up on our YouTube channel, which is also Cypher Unlimited.
Right.
If you can't tune in.
Right. Plus, you've got a podcast stream now too.
I do. Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, you do.
Oh my God, I'm late. So our podcast is also Cypher Unlimited. You can find us on, I know it's on a few of the different podcasting places, but you can definitely find us on iTunes. Just do a search for Cypher Unlimited Podcast, and basically what happens is we take all of our
all your episodes,
and all of our old stuff is out there too. So if podcasts are your thing, you can get us there as well.
Right. And then Scott, you're on Thursday night.
I'm on Thursday. If you'd like to get a sneak peek at your dealer hall Harpy, that's what we're going to finish working on there. So feel free to tune in with me on Thursday, or as we like to call it in Salon Bedlam, second Monday at 9 p.m.
Actually, yeah, Dean, what time is your show tomorrow?
Our show, we stream at 10 o'clock
Eastern, right?
Or 9:30 Eastern time.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into it with some people. So Eastern time.
Eastern.
Coast.
The East Coast.
Scott is 9.
We start our show about 9:30, 10 o'clock. But 9:30 we should be promptly, ready to go, ready to stream, and come on over and hang out with us, people.
Yep. And then Scott's going to be on at 9 o'clock Eastern as well. Those of us all here tonight are all Eastern people.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all Eastern time. And then on Friday night, we'll be doing our usual Friday night hangout, which is currently still superheroes. And so we'll be doing...
Yeah, actually, our son is playing too. Thomas joined our show.
You didn't tell me you were doing superheroes. You do know I'm the original. Where do you think Alpha Dean came from?
So we're working on getting, now that we figured out what's wrong with the laptop, we're going to get them up on YouTube. But
Yeah.
Thomas has been making Lego dioramas for all of the big fight scenes. It's been really cool. So yes, Adventures of Spooky Boy and the Dynamic Duo. Thanks, Terry. So with that, I'm Monica. You go ahead.
We haven't done a Tuesday in a long time.
Go ahead.
I'm Andrew Marlowe.
I'm Monica Marlowe, and thank you for watching Tuesday Nights Insights and Inspirations. Man, I haven't done that in a long time. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.